Alright, so my next guest, and I'm going to just take a minute to introduce her, because honestly, I think that I can attribute So my next guest, I just want to kind of introduce a little bit, because honestly, this whole entire banquet was conceived on the phone with Bernadette Barber here. We were sitting talking about Food Freedom Act. We were talking about all this stuff that's going on and how much resistance we got in our task. Well, let me actually go back a little bit. One of the reasons I know a lot of the people here is I went to Richmond last year in January to fight for the Food Freedom Act. And 1 week I found out on Facebook that this bill was going to the committee. And a week later, me and Matthew French back here in the back drove all the way up to Richmond just to see this bill through the committee, and we both got to speak. And we got the longest drive reward and stuff. It was incredibly well, I'll tell you. I mean, that reward has probably been the most profitable. But so anyway, we got put on a task force. That was the request of the committee. They tabled the bill, and they wanted us to get together with the Board of Agriculture, Farm Bureau, and a lot of these other lobbyists. And so I got to be on a small coalition of farmers, about, there's 12 of us total? 10, 12? Joel, me, Bernadette, Lois Smith, Matthew French, and a few others, and that I couldn't make it tonight. And so, you know, we sat in front of these, the Board of Agriculture and a lot of these lobbyists, and we realized kind of there was no budget. There was no negotiation, there was no desire to hear about any of these, you know, bills, or to have them kind of get on board with any of them. So we were having a conversation. It was just like, how can we do this? And, you know, I just became the chairman. I just, you know, inherited all this stuff. In fact, I think we were just at a meeting in May, and I remember bringing it up to everybody. I said, well, what about this banquet coming up? And they were like, well, good luck with that. That's really good. You know, you'll be a good chairman. And so I'm sitting here, I was really like, wow, all right. So I just really was kind of racking, and we were having this conversation, and I was just like, Bernadette, what if I gave a presentation on food issues? What if I just really talked about farm issues? And then it was just like, what if Joel gave a presentation on food issues? And that was it. I mean, that idea, and I was just like, I want to do it. I want to email him. I want to do it. And so that's what I did. I sent an email out to Joel, and it was our conversation that really kind of generated this whole event. So, you know, I have a lot of joy to sit and introduce our next guest. She has a very, very intense bill that's gone to the legislature last year. It's going to go to the committee this year again. And this bill, like I said, will be the reset button. This will just push the reset button and set us back the way we were, the way that it was. And I think that I just can't even express to you how deep of a feeling I get over this bill. So with no other time spent for me, I'm going to introduce you to Bernadette Barber. She's going to come up here and tell you how awesome this bill is. So everybody, Bernadette Barber.
Hi. First, I want to thank, and don't be shocked, I want to thank Gary Barber, John Vanetta, Jay Smith, Teresa Salington, and Stacy McIntyre. And I think Stacy's out with the kids that way, because if it wasn't for all that love, devotion, and extra work that y'all are putting out on the farm, all these activists just could not get out there, getting the word out, inspire people to just keep moving and pushing and fighting for our rights. And Teresa, you are my hero. I love you, Joel, but she's my hero. But basically, the Virginia Food Freedom Act basically states that, can everyone hear me? Basically states that there will be no restrictions on sales of foods processed in a home or on a farm, as long as it has a label that indicates the producer's name, address, ingredients, and the disclosure that it was not state inspected. As Joel said, there's an illusion that many foods are accessible to Virginians. Pumpkin pie, milk direct from your farmer, or shucked oysters from the watermen who harvest them are prime examples of illegal foods in Virginia. Unless a government agent goes into your home or your neighbor's home, you cannot sell or purchase any of those items, even though you have the full confidence in the integrity of that food. By passing the Food Freedom Act, Virginians will have the ability to sell the foods they process on their farm or at their homes direct to their customers, which we call consumers, without interference by the government. This bill will help rebuild our economy and restore our agricultural heritage. So I did get a little kind of an introduction, but I guess maybe I should talk a little bit about myself. I'm the baby of 12 kids, and my dad was a big believer in, keeping a huge garden. My mom was a yoder. I don't know how all that worked out, but I wound up, being raised in that wonderful, huge family, and we raised all our own food. And right now, after I grew up, me and my husband, we bought a little farm in Lancaster County. We've got 33 acres, and it's a small, diversified, pasture-based farm. We've got cows and chickens and horses and pigs and cats and hounds. And basically, it wasn't until I found out it was illegal to sell my cow's milk that I got politically active in the foodscape of Virginia. And that was about 10 years ago. And that's when I met Lois at the General Assembly in Joel. This past session, right before the Food Freedom Act went to subcommittee, a petition was put online on the Thursday night before the Monday night hearing. I carried over 5,000 signatures to that subcommittee. It had gone up to 8,000 after that, and it's closed out, but since we're bringing it forth again, I encourage every one of you in this room, if you're supportive of it, the petition has begun again. You can go directly to the website, sign up for it, and if we can get 5,000 in 4 days, you can't believe how many we'll get before January comes. And of course, Dwayne already stole my thunder on that one. Matthew and Dwayne were number 4 and number 5 on that original petition, and that's how I hooked up with them. And and they traveled. But I think one of the more interesting things is when we were at that subcommittee hearing, there are 8 subcommittee members. Will Moorfield happens to be one of them. And we need your help to convince him to sign on to the Virginia Food Freedom Act. Y'all just have to give him the confidence to stand up against Farm Bureau. I don't know how many of you all are members. Can we get if you're comfortable with this, how many of y'all are members of Farm Bureau?
I have. Am I the? Oh, okay, good. I'm not the only one.
I don't. They have their policy meetings right now, and in December they set the policy for the next year. I mean, if you all make enough noise, you might be able to change those decisions in December. So I urge every one of y'all that has a voice within Farm Bureau, because honestly, they're the ones standing on our throats. And we can't keep ignoring it. We have to fight back, and they're our biggest threat. I hope that was okay to say that. So, gosh, let me break my reading glasses out again. I think I kind of covered everything. And the kind of most important thing I would like to lead into now is I would like to introduce you by video feed. I'm sorry he couldn't make it tonight. He did really have a great excuse. Is our champion in the legislature. Rob Bell is carrying this bill. We will have a bill number probably next week, and we're going to go full force fighting for the Virginia Food Freedom Act. So, can someone turn the lights down? And here's Rob Bell.
Well, good evening, everybody. My name is Rob Bell, and I'm the delegate from the 58th District up in Albemarle County. And I want to thank Joel, and I want to thank Bernadette for all their hard work, and sort of I understand that by now they've set the table for the bill. I also want to thank Martha Bonita. Martha is an example of what a citizen can do when she sets her mind to it and wants to change the law. And I'd say that's true for all three of them, that it's easy to find fault, make complaints, and to say somebody ought to do something about this problem. And the difference is they went and did it. And when you hear people talk about government being, of the people, by the people, and for the people, it's not just up to the delegates and state senators to make that happen. It's up to you all. And these are people that are really taking the chance to bring a piece of legislation forward. And so I'm so excited to work with them. And I just want to walk through why I think this is such a good idea. So first, of course, the idea would be to allow the farmers to sell their goods directly to consumers. It's good for the farmers. And I think this will make it much easier for you to get your goods to the people that want to buy it. It'll make it harder for the barriers to entry that come up when it's too expensive to start a certain kind of farm. You won't have that problem. You can get started bit by bit. As you get capital, you can get bigger. It'll make it easier to be a farmer. Now the second thing is it'll be easier to be a consumer. And so here in my community, people love to eat locally. They like to get the food from someone that they know. And Virginia makes that very hard. And if you want to have it be a pro-consumer setup, it's going to have to be a bill like this where they can identify a farmer that they know. They can go and buy his food. If they trust him, that's enough. That's the second thing. And then the third thing, I think we ought to all recognize that Virginia was started by farmers. This is getting back to our liberty and our heritage to say, we're going to let you sell directly to the people that are going to buy it and eat it. And I think that it's a liberty argument. We are not just for the farmers, it's not just for the consumers. This is something, it doesn't matter, and I've said this in Richmond, it doesn't matter if you never use it. If you never buy from a farmer, if you think that's for other people, you still ought to be for this bill. Because this is something that lets people do what they want. They're not hurting anybody else. You should let it pass. And so this bill will come up next year. The legislature comes in January. If you're in this and listening to this and you think it's a good idea, I'd ask you to please reach out to your legislators and share your support with them. And I look forward to getting it passed. Thanks again for coming out tonight.
Here's a question.
Well, good evening, everybody. My name is Rob Bell. I'm from the 58th District of Albemarle County.
Are you taking questions?
Yes, sure.
Well, first of all, I just want to thank you. Your introduction brought tears to my eyes. That was so thoughtful and compassionate, and it's just been an honor for me to witness all your hard work and everything you've accomplished. You're a real hero for freedom and for farmers. And
Okay, guys, to let you know, me and Martha can call each other at 2 o'clock.
yes, yes.
We have.
Yes. Yeah, but I just want everybody to know this is one of the hardest working Virginians and patriots, and it's just been an honor to have you as a friend, and thank you for everything you've done. And if everybody could give her a big round of applause.